Have you noticed that when you're watching the scenes from afar, what's happening in Gaza, sometimes your emotions are stirred and sparked from different scenes that you're watching? For example, you might be watching the scene of a father who's burying his daughter, and he's explaining and he's saying, "She used to play with my beard like this." And sometimes you hear a mother telling her daughter who just passed, "I'm sorry. I'm sorry for the times I didn't cook the food you wanted. I'm sorry for the times I couldn't give you everything you asked for." Or then you see the scene of a father who's about to bury his third-grade daughter, and he's saying the coffee that she would make was better than her mother's, and she used to always ask me, "Is my coffee better or my mom's?" And he's saying she was the best. She was the best of the best. And sometimes you're seeing these scenes and your emotions are not stirred, but then one scene for some reason speaks to you and you find yourself crashing and collapsing from that one scene. And why is it that some scenes spark emotions in you more than others? It is because at the end of the day, you're a human being. You're a human being with a life of your own, and sometimes one scene will speak to you more than the other. And that's a miracle of the Quran that we have until today. That the Quran, imagine if the entire Quran was focused on one story. Perhaps the entire Quran was only focused on the story of Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam, who was betrayed and gone from his father for years and years. Some people relate to that story and some people don't. So therefore the Quran doesn't have just one story, but story after story after story with layers and layers and layers that you can relate to at different times of your life. That sometimes you feel like you're the mother of Musa letting go of your child. And at other times you feel like you are like Abu Bakr who's in a cave and scared for his life. You will find different aspects of stories in the Quran that you relate to, that cause different emotions at different times. And that is part of the miracle of the Quran. As Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam says in a hadith, that this Quran لا تنقضي عجائبه, that this Quran never empties from showing you miracle after miracle. It never empties from showing you different aspects of your life. And at the same time, it does not run out of the ability to quench you, to quench your soul. It doesn't run out of fuel to give you. It doesn't run out of life to give you. It doesn't run out of lessons to give you and to feed you. This is the Quran. This is the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the more we're seeing the atrocities happen to us in the world, the more we should rush and hold on to the rope of the Quran. The rope that will hold us and bind us together and make us feel sane when everything around us doesn't make sense. And that is the promise of Allah, because we might not see the perfect picture world we want here. This dunya wasn't created to give us a picture perfect world, but it was prepared for us in a way that we can look and anticipate that with our continuous struggle for the sake of Allah, with our continuous coming to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala day after day, atrocity after atrocity, adversity after adversity, the more we come to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the more we can hope for an everlasting, eternal hereafter. And that is what the mu'min believes in. مَنْ كَانَ يَرْجُو لِقَاءَ اللَّهِ فَإِنَّ أَجَلَ اللَّهِ لَآتٍ. The one who hopes for the akhirah, meaning Allah, know that that will happen. That will happen for sure. And that is the only thing we should be holding on to. The only thing we should be holding on to is the fact that this dunya is fleeting and it is a test, and Allah will compensate every single soul going through the tiniest thorn poke. Allah will compensate them in ways beyond imagination. So imagine the one who's burying child after child, losing home after home. And this is another thing I want to bring to your attention, that while you are seeing the people losing everything, what are you holding on to? Are you holding on to the akhirah, the hereafter? Or are you holding on to fleeting blessings that you're so consumed by that are distracting you from the real world? The other day, a teacher came into the house of a student, and instead of complimenting her and telling her, "Wow, you have this beautiful chandelier," "Oh wow, you have this brand oven," or whatever it is, she instead compliments her and says, "Baytik mrohan." Your house is full of soul, full of that life that feeds the spirit. And isn't that what we should be focusing on? Is your home a place where Quran is recited that feels like when the person enters your house, They are fed, their soul is fed, because this is a place where angels are constantly gathered, because the Quran is recited, because Allah is remembered in this house? Or is it a house that simply says, oh, it's nice, oh wow, it has this beautiful chandelier? Or is it something that really gives and feeds the soul? Because if the people of Gaza are teaching us anything, it is to focus on the soul, not on the surface that the dunya so often consumes us by. So may Allah make us people of ruh, people of the soul. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have mercy on every single child who is passing and compensate the one who is burying their loved one in ways beyond imagination.